Okay, wedding diets. What is the best way to lose weight before your wedding? So I've worked with brides for years, so I understand the pains and frustrations around not looking like you want to look before your wedding day. You dreamed about this day for years. So the dress, the photos, how your guests will think and judge you possibly. So I understand it's a very important thing for you before the big day. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get into the video. And before we do start that, I have a free Facebook group that if you want extra help and you have extra questions, I do free trainings every single week on topics around weight loss and emotional eating, which help you towards your goals. So if you'd like to join that, that is in the description down below. You can also message me there on Facebook and Instagram. So let's get into the video. So first of all, important question, do you want to lose weight for your wedding day, or is it really your wedding day and beyond, your future life and everything that's going to happen there? Because a lot of people I speak to, a lot of brides to be, of course, it is not just the wedding day, but that's the important motivation. So for me personally, I don't really agree with losing weight just for a day, because that's not really the reason, is it? It's for the future life. So just think about that to start with if you are thinking about your wedding day. I hope your intentions are good and that you want to think about your future health and how you are going forward, maybe having children and your future life. So very important thing to consider to start with, right? So first thing to think about is motivation around your weight loss for your wedding. So we have two types of motivation. The first is what we call external or extrinsic motivation. This is motivation that is driven by events and things that are outside of you. So, for example, your wedding day or a holiday or a party. The point with these is because they are external, these things come and they go. So too will the motivation. So for a lot of people, if their motivation is around this wedding day, they will have this drive because of the negative feelings they'll get if they don't do it until their wedding day. And then as soon as it's gone, they relax and go back to how they were before. So this is not a good strategy for long-term weight loss. So it's very important to think about what we call the intrinsic, which is from inside us. So to avoid the motivation going out the window when your wedding does pass, we need to dig deeper into your real reasons. So the motivations that you really want to change. And so this is something I do with my clients, and it's very important. So think about how your weight loss is affecting you with your self-esteem, your confidence, how it's affecting you day to day. What are you not doing because of how you feel about yourself? How is it reflecting your relationships with your partner, your friends, your family, and people around you? How is it affecting your emotional state day to day? How is it affecting your career and promotions? How is it affecting your money and finances, both in terms of how much money you're spending on food, but also how you're not progressing maybe in your life because of the weight holding you back. So digging really deep into these things and working out the real push, the real reasons you want to change, not just because your wedding day is coming up. And when you know these things, this gives you more drive because it's not just this one thing, it's a collection of things that is actually affecting your life all over, not just, I want to change for my wedding day. It's because actually my whole life is being affected by how I am. And having this big enough reason to change is so important. So just a side note, if you would like to have a chat to me about your reason, happy to have a chat to you, contact me on Facebook or Instagram. My link is down there in the description below. And then once we thought about that side of the motivation, we also need to think about what you actually want. So you're getting away from all these things you don't want. What do you want instead? How do you want your wedding day to be in all aspects? So how do you want to look? How do you want to feel? Where do you want that feeling to be? How will that make you feel? What will the people be like at the wedding? How will they react to you? What will they say? How will they be? And your partner, imagine this amazing day and just create a vivid experience in your mind of what you actually want, because it's not really exciting to get away from something you don't want, but it's very exciting to go towards something you do want. So having this positive, what we call pull motivation as well, is very important. And applying this to the rest of your life. How will your life be in all ways? How will your finances be? How will your career be? How will your relationships be? How will your confidence be? What will you do that you're not doing now? So this should excite you to actually work towards your goals rather than being driven by something negative, which we never really want. Well, it's not going to drive us for very long anyway. And then after we've done that, there are 3 steps to follow. So number 1 is having an eating pattern that is simple to follow, that fits in with your day, that fills you up and doesn't encourage binging. So with my clients, what we do is we use visual portion sizes. We take it away from counting. We don't need to count or weigh anything. And we don't need to do extreme things like cutting out foods. Bringing it right back. And you can absolutely get amazing results with this. And the great thing is they are better because it's a more sustainable way of eating. So that's number 1, having a simple way of measuring your food. Number 2, very important, is how do you regulate your emotions? Are you getting cravings that are pulling you back in the opposite direction? If you are probably regulating your emotions, changing the way you feel through food the whole time. So just a quick side note, it's not the food you want when you crave the chocolate. It's not the chocolate, it's the change in feeling. So you will feel a certain way and you want to feel another way, and food is just the way that links those 2 things. So food is just a vehicle. So if we change that vehicle, for some people it might be something else. Alcohol is a popular one, shopping, gambling, just flicking through TikTok or something on your phone is a way to change the way you feel. Now, some of these ways are disempowering, especially if you have a goal for weight loss. So if you are constantly getting cravings, then that is not useful to you. So being able to work on this and change the way you regulate your emotions. So when we talk about mindset, this is one of these things because it's a skill. And very few, if any, diet programs or systems actually think about these things. They just give you a way to eat. And how are you going to move forward if you haven't solved these problems? So that is number 2, very important. And number 3 is understanding stress and how that leads back into this. So a lot of people don't realize that stress doesn't happen to us. We do stress. We have to empower ourselves and think about what we can control. So yes, stuff is happening around us and we can't control that. But how we relate to it and how we respond to it and how we think about it, we can control. So when things happen to us, how do we think about that? What are we thinking in our minds? So with wedding planning, there's a load of stress that happens. And again, going back to point number 2, how do you release stress? Through eating, because you've learned accidentally that food is a quick and easy way to change the way you feel. So if we do stress in our minds, if we relate stress to everything, then we can often get more stressed, be more stressed, and feeds back into number 2. So we have to tackle this from 2 angles. Number 2 was to change the way you deal with stress. And number 3 is how are you actually creating your stress? So some common ways of creating stress are through perfectionism. So this is not high standards. So yes, it's great to have high standards, but if you are needing to be perfect through everything because you are feeling judged if you're not perfect, then you go overboard with everything, you spend more time on everything, and what does this do? It gives you stress and overwhelm. And how have you learned to release this? So that's what I mean about we do stress, the way we show up in life. Again, people pleasing, saying yes to everything, but too much on our plate. What does that mean? Less time, more overwhelm. How do we release that stress caused by that? Through eating. And so the way we think and interpret things is so important because of how this feeds back into our stress. So we need to think about this. So that is steps 1, 2, and 3. How we eat, how we deal with emotions, and how we actually create the stress as well, which we have to deal with. And so that's the big overview of it. And if you think about most dieting programs, it's just like, eat this. And yeah, of course, that will work for a little while and you can lose some weight. But it's not solving the actual issue. The actual issue is how to navigate life and think about food, and how do you deal with your emotions. And both those things, when solved, you can get long-term weight loss, and coupled with the positive motivation, it's actually exciting to do. You're changing your life and you enjoy the process because you're getting this new life and you have this amazing wedding day. You enjoy the day, you're focused on what's going on, you're confident, and you are focused on the people, their reactions, the memories, the excitement, and all the details of the day. And then you're happy because the photos come out how you want them to. You're not having to stand in a certain way for the photographer. You get the photos back and you want to display them. You don't want to hide them away. You want to display them. You want to show them to people. And all those photos that are taken by the guests on their phone, you're not worried about random things from random angles of you showing up on social media because you don't care anymore. You're so happy with the way you look and you're confident that everything is going to be perfect. So that's what it means to actually get to where you want to get to and feel happy with yourself and be present on the day. So if you would like any extra help with this, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. The links are below. And just another little side note, I have a free Facebook group for people who are struggling with weight loss, who have emotional eating. Every week in this Facebook group, I do a live training on certain topics. So if you'd like to join that, that is in the description below. But for now, I'll see you in the next one.